Apple's Smart Home Hub has been the definition of a moving target, but the newest report from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman gives us the clearest picture yet of both when it lands and what is actually going to be shipping here. Apple is now planning to ship an all-new Smart Home Hub that we've talked about for quite a while, sometime between this coming October and early 2027. And Siri AI obviously sits at the entire epicenter of this thing. The timing is the real headline because it lines up almost perfectly with Siri AI finally arriving in iOS 27, iPadOS 27, etc., to the general public. Apple has essentially been holding this product hostage because of Siri for years, and now that the software is ready, the hardware can follow. The device itself combines a HomePod-style speaker with a 7-inch display. And Apple is planning two different versions, one that sits on a tabletop with a speaker base and one that mounts to a wall like a traditional smart panel. Interestingly, Apple apparently expects people to buy more than one, placing them in the kitchen, the living room, the bedroom, and treating them as glanceable screens scattered throughout the house rather than one central command post. That is a real shift in how Apple is framing this thing. Now, what surprised me most is the software situation. Instead of running a stripped-down version of iPadOS, the Home Hub runs an entirely new operating system built on the Apple TV's tvOS foundation, described as tvOS blended with watchOS and iOS. So you get a grid of icons, widgets, and apps, plus customizable clock faces, so it should feel familiar without being a straight port of anything Apple already ships. There's also built-in facial recognition, which lets the Home Hub identify who is standing in front of it and surface personalized information for that specific person. And as you walk toward the display or step away from it, the interface elements resize so the important stuff stays readable from across the room. That kind of proximity awareness is kind of the thing that makes this feel much more of a smart home product rather than just an iPad on a speaker. On the features side, expect FaceTime video calls, home security monitoring, HomeKit accessory control, photo galleries, calendars, music playback, and an intercom system that ties together multiple Apple home devices under one roof. Mark Gurman also notes that Apple is still working on an advanced in-home security camera meant to go head-to-head with Amazon's Ring lineup, which suggests that this hub is the anchor for a much broader home push and not just like a one-off product. Now, for the part that matters the most, if you've been following along with this entire thing for the last however many years I've been talking about it, Apple originally wanted to ship a Home Hub back in 2024 in maybe spring 2025 window, then pushed it to spring 2026 when it planned to release the new Siri in iOS 26.4. Then that slipped again to September because Siri came out in iOS 27, which is still in developer beta. So now the October to early 2027 seems to be the real window here because we actually have a version of the Siri that Apple needs for this product. Every single one of those delays traces back to the same problem, which again is the new overhauled Siri built on large language models and just wasn't reliable enough at that time. But it seems like we're there now. Apple could not launch a device that lives and dies by voice control while Siri was in its current form. And now that I've been talking about Siri for the last few months about how good it is, I'm really excited about this product. A lot of the specs we're hearing now also line up with what's been rumored for a while. 7-inch display that's been pretty consistently described as square with fairly thick bezels, roughly the size of two iPhones kind of sitting side by side, small and light enough to be able to be moved from room to room. And the price has been repeatedly pegged around the $350 mark, which is the number worth keeping an eye on because it puts Apple well above the cheap Google and Amazon smart displays that have been owning this category for years. But again, it's Apple and the Apple tax and the whole ecosystem tie-in will definitely convince some people to buy this. So where does that leave us right now? Well, honestly, the biggest new piece of information here is that October is just a couple of months away. And if we do actually see something, we might get an entirely new, like smart home event maybe in October to announce this thing, and maybe it doesn't ship right away, but at least it gets announced and shown off. We've heard many reports about the HomePod Mini and a new Apple TV 4K all just being ready to go. And that report has been surfacing again this week that all the hardware has been ready for months. It's just waiting on the new Siri. If new Siri comes out in September like we are expecting, then October makes plenty of sense for all of this stuff to be announced and launched, and maybe the Home Hub gets revealed but it doesn't ship until, a month or two or even into that early 2027 window. But at least we get to see what it can do and what it finally is after all these years of delays. But I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. Have you gotten sick of the whole Home Hub and are you over it and never going to buy one? Or are you still really excited about it and want to see what this thing can actually do? Let me know in those comments down below. This has been with MacRumors. Thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.